A client came to us 6 months into a peptide program, synthesis route validated at milligram scale, IND filing 12 weeks out, and a manufacturing partner who had just told them the route wouldn't hold at 10 grams. That call changed the direction of that program entirely. It shouldn't have been that close. Hello, I'm Raghuvar Singh Parmar, Director Scientific Affairs at Resolve Mass Laboratories, where we partner with Biotech and Pharmaceutical teams to move peptide drug candidates from early synthesis through IND-ready manufacturing. Choosing a CDMO or CRO for peptide work is not the same decision as choosing one for small molecules. The chemistry is more sensitive, the analytical burden is very high, and the failure modes are more specific. So before you sign any partnership agreement, there are 7 questions worth asking, and most companies under time pressure skip at least 4 of them. Question number 1. Do they truly understand peptide chemistry? This sounds obvious, but it's really not. Peptide synthesis involves protecting group strategies, resin selection, coupling efficiency, and racemization control. And each of those choices compounds downstream. A CDMO or CRO with a generalist API or formulation experience may have synthesized a few peptides. This is not the same as having optimized difficult sequences, long chain cysteine-rich structures, aggregation-prone hydrophobic regions. Ask them specifically what sequence lengths and challenging motifs they have handled, and ask what happened when a synthesis didn't work for the first time. The answer to the second question tells you far more than the first. Question number 2, can they scale with your growth? Scalability in peptide manufacturing is not just a matter of bigger reactors. Solid phase synthesis, solution phase routes, and hybrid approaches each have their own scale-up dynamics, and translation from one to next is rarely automatic. A partner who produces 200 mg reliably may not have the process controls to produce 200 grams without significant redevelopment. Ask whether their scale-up strategy is documented and whether the development stage and manufacturing stage teams share institutional knowledge or operate as a separate silos. That gap is where programs slips. Question number 3, are their quality systems regulatory ready? Here is where many early stage companies make an assumption they later pay for. A CDMO can be technically excellent and still not be ready to produce data that will survive FDA scrutiny. ICH Q7 compliance, batch record discipline, deviation management, these are not paperwork exercises. They are the evidentiary records your submission depends on. At Resolve Mass Laboratories, we have seen IND packages delayed not because the chemistry failed, but because the documentation trail had gaps a reviewer could not accept. Confirm your CDMO has current GMP certification covering peptide API specifically, and ask whether they last had a regulatory inspection and what was the outcome. Question number 4 is how strong their analytical capabilities. Peptide characterization is demanding. HPLC purity, mass confirmation, residual solvent analysis, impurity profiling, high resolution mass spectrometry analysis, these are table stakes. What separates capable CDMO is whether they can develop and validate methods specific to your molecule not just run a standard panel. We once worked with a peptide that had a degradation product appearing only under accelerated storage condition. A generic method would have missed it entirely. A method built around that molecule's known liabilities caught it during development before it became an ICH stability failure. This is the difference between a CDMO that characterizes peptides and one that truly understands them. Question number 5 is, can they meet aggressive timelines? Timelines in drug development are always aggressive. The real question is whether your CDMO has the project management infrastructure to protect them. Dedicated project managers, milestone tracking with built-in contingencies, and clear escalation path where something goes sideways, not a shared inbox and a weekly status call. Ask what their average deviation to resolution time look like. Ask what happens operationally when a batch fails and a release date is already fixed. Their answers reveals whether that they treat timeline pressure as a shared problem or quietly hand it back to you. Question number 6, do they offer end-to-end support? Hands-off are risk events. Every time your drug candidate moves between teams, from synthesis to formulation, from development to manufacturing, from manufacturing to packaging, there is a huge potential for information loss, assumption mismatch, and timeline compression. A CDMO that supports you from gram scale synthesis through GMP batch production and stability testing eliminates much of that risk. It also means the peptide who know your molecule specific liabilities are still in the room where critical decisions get made. Question number 7, what is their industry reputation? Ask for case studies specific to peptide programs. Ask about client retention rates. Look for external validation, regulatory inspection outcomes, peer partnerships, published technical work. Experience with structurally challenging molecules predicts execution reliability in ways that a capability brochure never can. Trusted partners have a track record you can verify independently, not just one they describe to you. Here is what this comes down to. Peptide drug development rewards specificity in chemistry, in analytics, in project management, and in questions you ask before you commit. The right CDMO doesn't just execute your program, they anticipate where it gets complicated and they have already thought through what to do. If you are evaluating peptide CDMO partners right now, we would be happy to talk through your specific programs and raise your questions and inquire to book a specific call to our scientists to discuss this program. Thank you so much for watching this session, and I hope it helps you. See you in the next one. Until then, goodbye for now.